If you've ever wondered how to take a side hustle and turn it into multiple millions of dollars, probably one of the best personal brands around the sneaker culture, DJ Sneakerhead.
I sell the shoes that are, $40, $50, sometimes $80,000 sneakers.
That is business 101. Can you sell the thing you bought for more than you bought it?
Yeah, I done sold millions of dollars worth of shoes. I think about 2 years in of recording YouTube videos is when I really truly unlocked being way more comfortable on camera.
2 years after posting videos on YouTube, bro, people quit after 3 uploads. How would you encourage an entrepreneur who's thinking about starting to create content? They don't even know where to start as far as posting, what the heck do I post? What would you say, generally speaking?
So I think you have to understand.
Welcome to The Department with Omar where we interview people who are killing it in their department. And if you've ever wondered how to take a side hustle and turn it into multiple millions of dollars, I'm so excited to get into this conversation with DJ Willingham, other known as DJ Sneakerhead online, who has probably one of the best personal brands around the sneaker culture, which I resonate with because I would say I'm a sneakerhead. I just don't have a ton of sneakers anymore.
You're a sneakerhead.
I've kind of dialed it in.
You're always a sneakerhead.
Okay, yeah, and I wore my only one Jordan that I have.
I love to see it.
But you've been able to turn a passion into a full-blown business, and then what you've been able to take to start building wealth with that passion. And I just love your story. So I'm so excited to get into this conversation. Thanks for being on The Department.
Man, I appreciate it, bro. I'm excited too because you helped me a lot along the journey. So I'm gonna be giving you your flowers at the same time. So
yeah. The Sneaker Department is another title for this. But how have you been able? Because we were just right before we turned on the cameras and the mics. How have you been able to confidently say I've made $1 million reselling sneakers?
So I sell the shoes that are, $40, $50, sometimes $80,000 sneakers for a pair of shoes. So it can add up really quick.
One pair of shoes that is that much.
Yeah.
Give me give me 3 pairs that are
people love the Travis Scott friends and families or the so-and-sos, a lot of player editions or made for special artists or something like that. I'm a collector of those things. And I got into collecting the stuff. And sometimes you run across things that are not your size. So you're like, oh, I can still make money. I could use the profit to buy my own shoe for myself. And then next thing you know, you're like, I'm kind of in this because I'm known for it. You just build your own lane. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, after all these years, because I've been doing it for over 15 years now with sneakers. And because of that, next thing I'm like, I guess, yeah, I done sold millions of dollars worth of shoes.
Yeah.
Without a bat of an eye because it's just a part of my lifestyle now.
That's so cool. And I mean, for the record, I would say I knew I had maybe the entrepreneur bug because in high school, I demanded there's a story in Luke 15 in the Bible where this prodigal son demands his inheritance from his father. Mm-hmm. And you don't do that. You wait till it's time for you to get it. But I demanded my life savings from my mom in high school. It was $3,600 and I used it all to buy literally right away. I went on Nike Talk. Or was it Nike Talk?
Nike Talk, Soul Collector, all that stuff.
All the blogs,
Oh,
dude.
so you're an OG then.
I'm OG, bro.
Okay, you're not just a sneakerhead. You're an OG.
And I quickly, built a collection, but the power of buying and reselling shoes, even buy at retail, it's that is business 101 is can you sell the thing you bought for more than you bought it? Mm-hmm. And that's how I knew. I was like, oh, there's something here. And I just enjoyed that equation. I could buy something. So
yeah.
But you're saying you've been able to probably speed that up because now we're experiencing a time where you can buy a shoe for $20,000
right.
and sell it potentially for $35,000.
Right.
Yeah, which is insane to think that made in China. This is my issue. Mm-hmm. Is and Virgil messed it up for me.
Okay.
Because when he dropped the top 10 joint, I was like, dang, these are the most expensive resold shoes I've ever seen personally. This is 2017.
Yeah.
And they're all made in China. Mm-hmm. And then I start buying high-end stuff a little bit. And I'm like, dude, made in Italy, handmade goods. And it's who's to say the value? Mm-hmm. And this is where I've landed on dude, you get to decide the value, and the market gets to decide the value.
I mean, I think too, material items in general, to me, are all material items. Mm. We decide the value on everything. We want the Rolex, we want the car, we want the shoes, we want the this, the that. We put these prices on it. And it's like the market, the people kind of decide that. Because there can be expensive, there's a lot of expensive brands that people don't buy, that they don't hype up, right? There's other expensive brands that like they go crazy over.
Right.
So it's not like just because it's expensive, like it means it's quality or all these things. Like there's a lot of other variables to it too. So I see it as just like whatever you love and whatever you're passionate about, which me with sneakers, I'm like, I understand why it has this value.
It's good.
Because I could say baseball cards, like why do people want to spend money on baseball cards? That's stupid, right? Or in the baseball, people could say the same thing to me about shoes. And I'm like, any material item, it's all the same. Art, like how do you justify that, right? Like you got a story behind
100.
it. That's about it. So I'm like, to me, I think it's cool. Like it's fine.
So you started selling, what was like the primary platform you started reselling shoes on?
Man, when I first started, I was using like Craigslist at the time. And
it's so funny. It's like a nostalgic conversation.
Yeah, I used Craigslist, and then I had a Facebook Marketplace. Oh, it wasn't even Facebook Marketplace, I don't think, at the time. It was just Facebook groups.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, I had a Facebook group. I started my own.
Dang.
I was selling through there. Every 1,000 followers I got, I would give away a free pair of shoes. And I was building up fast.
That's
got
cool.
like 5,000 followers like within a few months. And then we were like building up this community. And that's when I started building like my brand of like what the website I wanted it to be one day. So there was like ISS, Nike Talk, and different stuff like that. So I would sell on those platforms too. But my goal was to like create my own shop. Because at that time it was like Flight Club and like Riff LA and a few stores. Like there wasn't like sneaker stores everywhere.
Right. Dude, I remember Flight Club's prices were so hiked up.
Yeah.
Like it was well before over whatever the market value was.
And that was like the golden standard. Like if you're an entry-level sneakerhead, you buy a shoe from there. And then that lets you know like it's authentic, all these different things. Like I went to the store and got the experience, which is a part of like their brand. So I was like, oh, I want to do the same thing but online. And one day I'll open a store when I get out of college. And it just kind of started snowballing quick. And then I dropped a website. I made it on myself like on Wix, like when it first launched, like way back. And Wix was like, it's developed a lot since.
Yeah.
But back then my website was terrible. But I was processing orders and I was making it happen.
But you weren't paying that fee, that 10%, 15% fee.
It was like a standard website. Like there wasn't even no back end.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, it was way different.
Okay, is that sneaker store that you've been posting about, that's yours?
That's my friend's store.
Okay.
I help with a lot of sneaker stores too, with getting inventory and helping with their branding on the back end too. Just because I'm so passionate about it and I want to see my friends like be successful in their arena. And not only does it help them, it helps me in the long run. Because if they get bigger, they got more resources. Then if I need something, then I'm like, hey, what's up? I need to get a pair of shoes or whatever it may be.
Okay. I think I know the answer to this question, but like, is it easy or hard to get a pair of limited shoes for you?
For me, it's easy.
Okay.
I get too much stuff sent my way.
Yeah.
Like I give away a lot of stuff. That's why you got like my mom, my wife, my dad, like they have crazy collections. My dad has a lot of samples and PEs and stuff in it. My wife.
PEs is player exclusives, meaning they're literally maybe less than
$1,000+, like crazy expensive shoes. My dad be out there cutting the grass. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? But yeah, I get a lot of stuff sent my way, so I want to make sure that everybody's taken care of around me too.
When did you go from it being like a side hustle of just buying and reselling to like, I don't need a job?
By the time I was a senior in high school, I was like making enough money to really be like, I don't even know if I want to go to college, but I really want to play football. So I was like, I'm going to college because that was my biggest priority, was like to try to go to the NFL. And I was like, if anything, I'll just run a business on the back end. Plus like the networking was great for like being an athlete. You meet a lot of people. And then when you meet a lot of people, it's easy to sell stuff because you know everybody.
Right.
So by the time I was a senior in high school, I was like ready to do it. I was already getting ready to drop the website. I was making good money. I wore a brand new pair of shoes every day my senior year in high school. I never wore a used pair or the same pair twice.
Would that be like 180
something days? Yeah.
Jeez, that's wild. What would make you want to do that?
I don't know. People are like, man, you always got fresh shoes. It's like, you should wear a new shoe. And they're like, how many shoes you got? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I got a couple hundred pairs. And they're like, you should wear a new pair every day. And then obviously like shoes are coming out during that time too. So I would get like the latest releases. I'll rock them. But I was getting like 7 pairs of the new shoe that came out. So I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll just rock one, keep one, sell the other one, and then sell the other 5 pairs.
It's cool because like you tapped into that place where you now get to enjoy the hobby. It's not costing you, it's paying you to enjoy this hobby.
That's exactly was the main reason. I was just doing it for that. And I was like, my original was like, oh, I'm gonna get this big collection, I'm gonna sell it and buy a car. And then that was like a couple months. And my dad was like,
that's wild.
You need to buy some real estate. What are you doing? And then I was like, okay. Because my dad bought a house when he was 20. My mom and dad did. So I was thinking like, oh, I need to buy a house when I'm 20. So I was preparing myself to purchase a home at 20 years old. And then when I got to that point, I just didn't do the educational side of like learning how the loans work and all the different things and like taxes and all that stuff. So I was just like, I got a lot of cash. Like I'm 19 years old. I'm about to go buy a crib. And then it was like harder than I thought. So that kind of like put me in check, and I was like, okay, I need to learn more about real estate because I really want to master this. Because I saw that there was a lot of similarities between sneakers and real estate.
Right.
And a lot of people don't like to say it is, but really to me it is.
It's just at a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But if you do volume, it's almost the same.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know we'll get to the real estate part because I think it's so cool that you've tapped into that at a young age. And even like when I met you, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you were already on that journey, which is so tight. But when it comes to like the getting shoes that are limited, I find it hard because it became all about the internet to do it. I used to, when I was buying limited sneakers, it was Saturday morning drops. You go Friday, you line up, and you get, you probably wait like 6 to 8 hours in that line. Then they give you a wristband and you're secured and you got your one pair.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because there's a lot of young people, especially here in Vegas, dude, that have opened up their hype stores with, the sneakers that they resell, but also like the Supreme, the streetwear and all that stuff. And they keep it. They keep going. Like, I mean, they really have this like constant, like whatever shoe comes out, they have a few pairs of.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if somebody was just getting into it, because literally you don't need the personality. You can literally start buying shoes that people want and reselling it. Like, where would somebody start?
I think there's a lot of, you got to understand, just like in real estate, like, do you want to be on wholesale? Do you want to do multi-unit? Do you want to do short term? Do you want to do tiny houses? Do you want to just be the agent? You want to be this? Like, you got to figure out what you want to be in the shoe space, because there's so many different type of resellers, or you could be the middleman or whatever. So I think it's like really understanding like what types of people you could be. And
they all have their own pros and cons.
Everybody.
Like,
right?
if I'm a middleman, I don't have to worry about selling the shoe.
And managing the store and doing all this stuff. Like,
I could just sell it to a store owner.
Yep.
And I'll lose a little bit, but like I don't have to try and sell it.
Way less stress.
Yeah.
Well, potentially way less stress off of that, right? There's a lot of different things. But then it's like, well, if I want to scale more, maybe I can't because I'm at the, mercy of somebody else's success and all the things. But I think understanding like what type of place you want to be in, even when it comes to like, say you did open a store, first you should start with like an Instagram page or something like that. Something that's like free and obtainable quick, right? Because you can start a page. Now you got to establish like credibility, which is the hard part. But you got to go to like all the events. You need to meet the people and get in the scene. Just
which
like
I
you
love
said.
that you said you do. You go
like I met you when I first started. I started YouTube and I went to that event.
Yeah.
I paid that $1,000 to get in. Yeah. I wasn't even ready to pay the $1,000, but I was like, I bought the ticket 3 days before the event happened, and I was like, I'm going because I'm committing to this thing. And that's another thing. You got to commit to whatever you want to do. So when it comes to that, pull up to the events, go to SneakerCon, go to the local events, go to every single sneaker store, learn the game, and even see if you can work at those stores and learn the back end. And because when you do that, you start building relationships. Sometimes they have inventory that they don't want, or you might be able to sell to a different audience.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you can help out the store in a different way and provide value. And then that'll build up your credibility by using leverage from somebody else's success. And then now you can branch off and do your own thing, which you see a lot with a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
They go work with somebody else, they build it up, they establish their name, and now they have the opportunity to go build something on their own.
Dude, that's really good. I literally have a friend I think he's 44, and last year made an extra 60 or 70K extra profit by buying and reselling shoes.
Dope.
I would say he was using bots.
Bots.
Hey, I was like, honestly, respect the hustle. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, let's talk about bots. Like, I know there's like kind of a newer wave. Maybe it's getting old, but like, it's not. I mean, it's obviously still working, and people are finding and paying the fee to have a bot so it secures the shoe, making it really hard to actually, for a guy like me who's like, man, I would love that shoe again because it's re-releasing. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna pay resale for that.
I think the biggest thing was like you said earlier, you used to be able to go out and earn it. You could sit in line, get your shoe, and then that's when you say, okay, how many hours am I waiting in line? Is it worth the time based off the profit of the shoe if I were to sell it? Like, I'm here for 8 hours. Like, should I be doing this or not? And with the bots, like, you just sit at home and push the button, right? But you still got to pay for it and all that stuff. For me, I never messed with bots before. I know it was a hot thing a few years ago. Like everybody was on their bot stuff. But some people are still having success with it now. I think it's like kind of unfair, but at the same time, like you do what you do.
Yeah,
like I can't even knock it. Like it's a part of the game.
Yeah.
Like you need that to fuel something else, to drive people to do things. Like it's literally like that in every market. So to me, I'm like, I can't even be mad at it. But I don't partake in it.
The sneaker resell, like I think I don't know, there is an article or a stat there where like the resell industry makes more money than the retail industry.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is so crazy.
And it's growing fast. It sucks though because like you got so many people that are coming in that like truly don't care about the culture.
Right.
And then we're losing our like, I don't know, identity or whatever, but we're like losing our way. Like we don't have any sense of like respecting the game, the style. And it's not like our way was right. It's just what we had always known for so many years. So like maybe this is a new wave, but at the same time, like it has eliminated so many people that like care about what they're copping and like have a story behind it and everything. Like it's more fun when you go out and wait out for a pair of shoes and you got that story and you rock it with pride and everything.
Yeah.
Compared to just like, oh, I just got this on the internet. Right. I paid resale and now I fit in with everybody else. Like it don't hit the same. You know what I'm saying? At least to me.
No,
that's
100.
how I feel. So, you know, it's a new era. But for me, I'm like, as a creator, I'm like, I want to keep that. I don't know if it's nostalgia or whatever. Keep that OG mindset, giving it to the new people in the game. Because I realize a lot of my audience is like people that started in the first couple of years. Like I got a lot of OGs, but the majority of my audience, like I think it's like almost 70% of my audience is within their first 2 years of collecting shoes. So I'm like, let me guide you the right way. Let me show you, buy what you like, do this. And you can still make money. You can still do these things. So that way you don't kind of like lose your... lose your way along the process.
No, that's really good. Do you have like a sucky story? Like you either bought a fake pair of shoes that was expensive or got ripped?
I mean, there's times where like, I remember there was one time I bought some shoes for a rapper. He was coming to Portland. This was like a long time ago, like 10 years ago. My homie hits me up, which was kind of like a shaky source, but I was like, he be coming through every now and then, so this is probably legit. He's like, yo, he needs these shoes. It was like the Joker 28s, like an ugly Jordan model. Like, nobody wants those. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, the dude wants to wear these. It goes with his outfit. He's trying to wear them tonight on the stage. I'm like, what size? He's like, oh, a 13. I'm like, oh, I'm a 13. Perfect. But I'm like, I don't have that shoe. I got a different color of that model. He's like, no, he wants this color. I'm like, okay. There's like one store in the city that I think might have them. So I go to a resale shop. They have them there. Shoes like $450. And which is like way overpriced. But I'm like, oh, I'll just pay it and just charge them like $500 and I'll just go deliver them. I get the shoes and then right when I get the shoes, I call them. No response. The concert's tonight. I'm like, bro, what's going on? Because typically like I get shoes for artists. I go drop them off. They'll give me like some passes and I'll like go to the concert and we'll be like, hey, we're good.
You make a vlog,
like,
throw it up on YouTube.
Yeah, like whatever. Views. Well, back then I wasn't even vlogging. So I was
wow.
That's what made me start YouTube because I had all these stories that like, people that know me, they knew what's up. But then like, if I told some stories, they'd be like, people wouldn't believe it. I'm like, no, this was a part of my lifestyle, like from a young age. But yeah, so that one sucked because I was like, what do? These shoes are terrible. They're ugly. Like, I don't even want these. I ended up actually giving them away like way later. Wow. I had held them for like 2 years just to like have it as a sob story. And then I just gave the shoes away.
That's crazy. My sucky story is Nike Air Yeezys 2.
Okay.
Won the raffle at Foot Locker.
Okay.
Went in, bought them, and they were $240 with tax. And then I put it on eBay for about $1,600. That's how much they were selling for. And I was just trying to like, bro, if I can move it for that much profit, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And it was one of my first sales on eBay, so I didn't even understand how eBay works. But you could buy something on eBay or hit the buy button and not follow through on PayPal, but it takes the listing down.
Oh.
And the guy said, hey, the money's not going to go through on PayPal until you put the tracking number. And then legit sent the shoes without actually seeing the money.
Right.
And the shoes just
gone.
Classic
rookie mistake.
Now they're worth like $13,000 or something like that.
That's crazy.
Worn. Like I could have enjoyed them.
Well, I talked to Virgil at ComplexCon and they were like, this is 2017 when the Off-White Air Force One came out. And they were like, oh, do you want a pair? And I was like, oh yeah, I'll grab them later. I want to go get these undefeated Air Max 97s because those was like the hot shoe at the moment. And I'm like, it's a fat line over here, but I could have easily grabbed the Forces. Retail's like $160 or something. I'm like, oh, I'll just come back and grab them. So I come back later, and then it's like R.I.P. Kobe and Virgil. Him and Kendrick Lamar's pulling up. So now it's like this fat line of people. And I'm like, yo, I want to grab those forces. They're like, we got too many people. It wouldn't be fair if you cut. Like, sorry. And I'm like, oh, it's all good. And then now that shoe was like $10,000. And I'm like,
Shoot.
What was I thinking? I should have just grabbed it.
Dude, I've got a few. I've gotten a very lucky. I won Turtle Doves in 2015.
Fire.
You know, as a raffle. I've also won the Off-White ones.
Okay.
And I sold them for $900.
Oh.
A year after enjoying them.
If this is on podcast audio, just know that my bones are creaking right now.
I know. So $900. I used that money to buy a pair of Gucci loafers. And now those shoes are worth about $14,000.
That's crazy.
And I also, the reason why I sold them is I saw a photo on Instagram that scared me. And it was like the toe box was scraped because it was exposed cotton.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm not going to wear these shoes and like, you know, risk that. So I'm just going to get rid of them, whatever. And it's just crazy that like a collab version of a original shoe, the market value would go so insane rather than like the original actual pair from 1985. I don't know. It still messes with me. Yeah. But like just, I've taken a good fair share of L's.
And that's what I specialize in.
A lot of lessons.
That's what I specialize in on my channel too, is like really teaching people the history and understanding why things have value. Yeah. I'm not saying it again, somebody could justify why or why it doesn't have value, right? It's their choice. But I say, hey, these are the reasons why people decide to value these things at these prices, basically. Like this series of events based off of this color, whatever it may be, the story behind it, the limited factor, you name it. There's so many different elements. But that's what I really like to teach people about the shoe. It's like, not only are you just buying some dope shoe, like, why are you buying it? Why do you even like this in the first place? Like, so I really like teaching people about that type of stuff.
So like I've seen, I would say since 2015, it was like Yeezy's crazy hype. And then it was almost like the Jordan 1s kind of came around because of, I think Virgil like kind of resurged that. And then it hit Dunks, and then it was like a Jordan 1, 2 with Travis Scott. Now like I look at a pair of Yeezys now and I'm just like, I would never. It's weird. Yeah. Like what is like right now at the time of filming and recording this is like the shoes that are either on the come up or like these are the hot thing right now?
Well, we've seen the New Balances because of Taylor Swift, right? That's been a huge thing with her in the NFL.
Which New Balances?
I don't remember the numbers. I'm not really. I don't.
Is it the one that looked like old school
kind of
basketball
the low
shoes?
top ones?
Yeah.
So like New Balances have already had their little wave like last summer and everything, but that kind of like had a quick spike right now because of it. So it's got a lot of people buying it. But I think the next shoe on the market, like a lot of people are getting down. They're kind of done with like Jordan 1s, 4s, and Dunks. Right. And the Sambas. Like, have you been noticing a little bit more people been rocking?
But those are like general release, easy to grab.
But that's the thing. That's how everybody used to say the same thing about Dunks. Yeah. And they used to say the same thing about all white Air Force Ones. Dang. And now look at, they're selling out and they're reselling for multiple, right? So the Sambas have been that new shoe that's kind of been coming into people's style. Yep. And if you start looking on the internet, you'll start seeing more people's rocking, especially like the more influential type of creators. I got a feeling by spring, summer next year, like a lot more people is going to be rocking that type of shoe because they want to switch it up. They say, oh, they want to be diverse. They want to have a different brand. Right. So I would look out for the Sambas for sure.
I think I actually have like a trend-setting projection that Adidas will make its back next year because number one, Jerry Lorenzo is going to be starting to drop stuff. Yeah. And even like the silhouettes of clothing they're starting to drop is like, it seems pretty high end. I was at Dick's Sporting Goods the other day and it caught my eye. I was like, dude, the cuts of these, it's like essentials. It's almost like they're getting influenced. So I feel like Adidas will probably make like for sure a resurgence, but it's just funny how it all works. Like I'm just so fascinated at our eyes and what we like at certain time periods. Yeah. And that like at one point the Yeezys just had something, I don't know, the way it looked on us. And now I like see it at the airport. I'm like, that dude's a lane, bro. Right. No, I mean, to each his own, everybody has their own taste. Yeah. It's cool. But dude, that's really cool. What would be your like top 3 favorite shoes or what you would call grails?
For me? Yeah. The infrared 6s is my like all-time favorite shoe.
Okay, what's cool about that shoe, number one, is it is a fire shoe. Yeah. But what's crazy about it is the Varsity Reds that came out in 2012. Oh yeah, with the suede. Quality was just so much better. Yeah. And then when the 2016, I think or 2014.
Oh, those were terrible. It was like pink.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what like always gets me. I'm like, I'm looking for these details. Like that's why I love the remastered stuff. But like infrared 6s all day for sure.
Yeah, infrared 6. For me, I'm a heavy Jordan guy.
Yeah, 100.
But I think I don't know. There's so many different. There's again, you could categorize it in so many different ways. I think for me personally, I would say infrared 6. I'll go probably bread 11s, playoff 11s, whichever color you'd like to consider it, black and red bottom, and then a good pair of Chicago 1s. Like those are like the top 3.
Yeah,
you can never go wrong with.
never go wrong. I literally like over time have readjusted my collection. And I sold off all my Jordans last year.
Okay.
And all I had were like game worn colorways because I like it was like a cool little collection.
You had that last dance effect. You saw that money. You was like,
100.
let me go ahead and sell that real quick.
That was part of it. And then there was another part of it that was like, I have these moments where I'm like, I don't want like me to idolize these things right now. Like I feel like if I sell them, it'll do something in my spirit to like, I can get them back again. I'll buy them. You know, like when that happens. And long story short, yeah, like I'm down to one pair and it's Jordan 1 Chicago's.
I mean, again though, that's the best part. Like that shoe is amazing.
Yeah.
It looks great, fresh. It looks great, beat up. Like you're gonna get your money's worth over time. Like they're gonna keep going up in value as a new pair and everything. So that's the part I love. Like you buy a shoe, use it, and then the dead stock, the new version, you know, continues to rise.
Yeah.
It allows you to balance out even if you wear it and you're like, man, I could still sell this shoe for $700 worn like
it's
3
crazy.
years later. Like,
right. It's like watches, dude.
Yeah, you can't get like a used car and do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's hard. Unless you buy it at the dealer's auction, get a discount on it and then sell it, like
100.
Which is what I used to do. That's how I made a lot of money. I used to sell cars too.
Dude, you just love buying and reselling stuff.
All the stuff. Yeah, I'm with all that.
I don't know. Would you want to go into the personal brand conversation first or the real estate conversation first?
Up to you, big dog. I want to talk about both though.
Let's go personal brand. Right. So like straight up, if you go online and if you're anywhere or involved with this culture or sphere or industry, you come up as just one of the top personal brands. And I want to pull out some principles from how you've been able to do that in a fairly short amount of time. Would you say like, would you say like what?
2020 was my first like full year.
Full year.
I came in October 2019 is like when I was like, I'm about to try to do this.
Okay, yes. There's like start posting content and like you have a few 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 100K on Instagram. How much on TikTok?
3 something. And I just started Snapchat. I'm at like 60-something thousand already on there.
Dang, that's fire. I've been hearing about Snapchat.
Yeah.
But like you've been able to build like a very well-known personal brand, which I know has afforded you a lot of opportunity. Like you say, shoes are coming to you now. You don't even have to go looking for them. But like what would you say is like the first thing you feel like you like got the bug and went into practice on like, okay, I'm just going to start making videos?
I think I remember sitting down with my dad when I was in college playing football, and he was like, you are a brand. Like everything you do is representing your family, it's representing your own brand, it's representing all that stuff. And you got to carry yourself to a standard that you want to really be living at. And if you have goals and expectations of yourself and you haven't hit those yet, like you got to carry yourself as you're there already. And then you need to just continue to stay consistent with that. So it's funny, like even my glasses, like people used to make fun of my glasses back in the day because nobody wore these type of glasses. Because I've been wearing, I switched them out because I actually broke the other ones, but I've been wearing these glasses since like 2010, 2011. And it was just like a part of my thing. And back then, it was hilarious. Joke's on you. And then now you're like, everybody's wearing them. But that was my thing. And I was like, this is a part of my brand. And I had the high top back then when I was playing football.
Yeah, it was the old school look.
Yeah, it was just my thing.
Yeah.
So I realized like, oh, these little things that identify me when you see me, people can catch me. Like it was crazy during the COVID time. Like I'll be wearing a mask and people still knew who I was.
Wow.
And then you could just see my eyes with a hat, my hair hanging out in the back. Like people could see me from behind and identify me and stuff like that. So I started realizing like, oh yeah, this is very, very important just on like the consistency of like, what's the dude from Apple when they always talk about how he dressed and everything and he's like wears the same outfit every day?
Well, like Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I don't know if you gotta wear the same outfit. You don't gotta wear the same outfit, but at the same time, like you know your style, you know your look, right? And you build that brand, you build that audience. So for me, that was a big thing just on the visual side.
That's really good.
First.
There's something to say about that, like owning that part of, and maybe you don't know you're creating a brand, but like it is like how you show up consistently that creates it, whether you do it intentionally or unintentionally. Like I almost wore a New York Yankees hat today, and I said, we're shooting a podcast.
Right.
I'm wearing my hat. And it's crazy how like me wearing my hat has made people want to buy my hat.
Yep.
Like that's the only thing I've never, I did one drop, it sold out and I was like, all right, maybe I'll do it again. People are waiting for it, but like there is power in showing up consistently, wearing your thing. Alex Hermosi talks about his hat acquisition.com. It's like literally his website. The hat is actually very ugly and like says his website on it. It's not even like a logo really. And he dropped his book, and because he threw that on top of his book sale, if you bought it in the pre-sale.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I work out with the hat, you know, and I feel connected to Alex, you know, make me like Alex. But that's what people want to do, is they just want to connect, and that's what the point of building a brand. But shout out to your dad. I feel like your dad has like had a huge influence on your life, obviously, but just these seeds of like wisdom, and their wisdom or their information, but you applying it has become it becomes wisdom when you apply it.
Yeah, my dad was always front end, my mom was back end. I saw them have so much success in so many different arenas.
That's so cool.
Growing up as a kid and like living in a house with them together. And I'm thankful for every moment of that, because I got to see like so many different elements of like being a husband and being a, a brother, because my dad got a lot of siblings and stuff, just so many different things. But he ran a lot of businesses that made good money. And I was able to like, he had his proof. So I was like, I would listen to what he would say. It'd be different if he was like, hey, do these things. And he wasn't doing it himself.
Right.
So yeah, whenever he would say that, or my mom would say that, or she'd talk about like, consider this for that or whatever, I would always be listening.
Yeah, that's really good. So like, okay, so you like own the fact that like, this is how I am, this is how I look. I'm going to put myself out there like this. Yeah. And then what would be like the next step into starting to post content online?
I think the next thing is really just figuring out like, what do you really care about the most? Because a lot of people, like, even when I started, I was trying to make like Casey Neistat style videos and so video, right? Like everybody does that when they get on the beginning of the journey. But I really started to realize like, no, I'm really good at like breaking down the history of shoes and understanding this stuff, because I know this. I know the designers, I know all these people. I've done these things. I have the credibility. And even if sometimes people devalue themselves and they're like, oh, well, I haven't done enough compared to so-and-so. But it's like, you could say it in your way. Like I talk in my way. I don't care. Like I see people in the comment section, oh, you said it, this ain't this, that, that. I'm like, bro, I don't care. Like I'm not talking for you. I'm talking, like I'm talking how I want to talk, because this is me. So that's a big thing too, with like understanding like your style. And when you do that, people start to realize like, oh, this dude is a regular person. Like, he talk how he talk is normal. He's not trying to like be all extra perfect for everybody. Like they just being themselves.
Yeah, that's fire. You say consistency. The second one you said care. Give me a third C on building your content empire.
Man, I'm trying to think. Consistency. You gotta be consistent.
Bro, charisma, bro.
I got the charisma.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it kind of goes back into like being yourself, but like, you if you search how to lace up your Air Force Ones, or how to, or like the breakdown of like the Jordans 1 through 23 or whatever, you show up. And like, I don't know, just the first videos you started posting online on YouTube and stuff, like they were really good.
I appreciate it.
How did you get comfortable in front of the camera?
Well, same thing. I played sports. So I was already used to like that stuff. Like even in high school, like I ran on a track team, like Junior Olympics, like did all that stuff. Like, so I've been, from being an athlete, you just kind of used to being around a lot of people, being on the news, doing random things like that. So I think that kind of helped me out. And then I'm like kind of a character a little bit. So I'll be just out there having fun. But I think about 2 years in of recording YouTube videos is when I really like truly unlocked like being way more comfortable on camera. Some people might have said,
I think 2 years after posting videos on YouTube is when I actually got, bro, people quit after 3 uploads.
Yeah, no, it took like, I was consistently making progress, but like about 2 years in, my wife, my family, the people that like I care about their opinion, they were like, you're getting more comfortable. We're starting to see you in the videos more and more and more. And it don't even have to be like, because some people like let the edit compensate for them being awkward.
Right.
I'm like, no, just be you, right?
Right.
So, and I could feel it in my delivery, my energy, everything. And I started to see it more and more as the people would write comments and stuff. And they're like, you see that a lot in the videos. I love your energy. You care about so much. And I'm like, because these are the things that I'm like passionate about, and I'm bringing it out now. Like it's really unlocking. Like be forgetting the camera's even on.
Yeah, no,
like,
that's
I'm
really
like,
cool.
We're just gonna talk mess.
And it's like the care fuels your charisma because people sense that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, if you're doing it for money, it's hard to communicate that
Mm-hmm.
or be pure in your approach.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really tight, dude. You there's a huge opportunity I feel like you can tap into, but because you're so passionate about it, and I feel like you can steer the ship, like a faceless YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
that breaks down the history of a shoe
Mm-hmm.
that you don't like. I don't know if you know about you. Do you know? Have you been hearing about faceless YouTube channels?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
I have a horror story for that.
Oh,
I bought one and lost the money.
Well, yep. Okay. Yeah. How much was it?
10,000.
Don't say the name.
What? Of the channel?
Was it a person that was geared like?
It was a faceless channel.
No, but like, did a person like steer you to buy that channel, or like did you? Because there's guys that are selling this as a business. You like buy their program, they go find that channel and they say,
"Oh no,
okay,
no."
It was just all.
It was just like this dude said he knew me from back home.
Okay,
and he told my friend, and my friend was like, he's a YouTuber as well. He's got like 1 million or something like that on YouTube, and he was like, "Oh, let's start buying channels." And I'm like, "Bro, this is great." Like I started learning about buying channels, and I'm like, I'm willing to try it. Because I don't want to like live life and then be like, dang, I shouldn't have tried. I should have tried it. Like, why not? I'd rather lose money and then than not. So I was like, okay, I could lose 10,000. Like, F it, let's do it. So we have the meeting, we talk about it, and then he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. We buy the channel together, and then we get access to the channel. You know, you get the rights to the channel, and then he logs you in. Now you're the owner of it, all the stuff, right? So we get the channel. They're supposed to work to recoup our money from the cash flow from the channel. And then once it breaks back even, then it goes back to us. And then we find the group to do the content for like the scripting and all the stuff. So they're basically gonna like keep us rolling and we just buy right into it, like an already operating business. And then we bought it. And then the next, like there was like 2 videos went up and we're like, there's videos that's supposed to be going up like every day. Yeah. And then a month later, we like lost access. And we're like, what's going on? And then we talked to the guy and he's like, I don't know. Cause he was the one that was like brokering the deal. Okay. And then next thing you know, he's like ghosting us. And we're like, oh, okay, one of those guys, huh? And then we just been like hitting him up, and then the other guy's like trying to do illegal and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, whatever. Like I'm already over it, but I done lost more money on other stuff.
That sucks. So. Yeah, no. But like I would say just start from scratch.
Yeah, just do your own thing.
Like, because that is very like the idea and the topics would crush. Yeah. Like I just even like how you could talk about the samba and like the history of it and why it's actually resurged and all that stuff. You know, Taylor Swift is the reason. You know, like all this stuff is like actually is interesting. Yeah. Like Nolan on the Think team, he started a basketball faceless channel, and he had like a $20,000 month his like 5th month.
Really?
Yeah, because he had 2 videos kind of pop off. Granted, he hasn't been able to like have a month like that again, but like he loves the sport and he can facilitate that. And because YouTube, I just feel like you could tap into that.
Definitely.
But, yeah.
No, that's a good idea.
So you the way you approach content, I think like it's actually not as common because I think you understood business and entrepreneurship and you saw the opportunity of investing in creating content and how that could work. I would say a lot of people that go to like Vid Summit, they see content as the business. They're not really entrepreneurs. They're like artists, right? And they will obsess over these like nuanced metrics. And I don't know, like I gravitate toward teaching entrepreneurs because you don't have to build large audiences to make a lot of money. How would you encourage like an entrepreneur who's thinking about starting to create content and they're just like, number one, like, they're getting in the way of themselves. Right. They don't like how they look and sound on camera. They don't even know where to start as far as like posting, like what the heck do I post? What would you say generally speaking?
Well, I think if you're truly making something that's like typically businesses are to help people with something, right? Whether it's like making it faster, easier to apply something or 100. Whatever, whether it's a physical or digital thing, right? So I think you have to understand what is the biggest purpose out of all this? Like, what are you truly doing this for? What is your business seeking out to do? So for me, I'm here to help people turn their hobby to a hustle, turn their sneaker passion into a profit. Like, all the catchy lines, right? But that's what I really want to do. I want to be able to teach. Originally, the vision was like, I want to be able to teach my young 16-year-old self that didn't have a big brother the same process in the game. and show them how to level up and invest in the sneakers and then go buy real estate and go do different things and invest in other stuff. So once I saw that and I knew I was passionate about what I was doing, it made it so much easier for me to go in and be like, oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then I didn't worry about the business and building the money and all that stuff because it started to slowly come. Again, like you said, worry about what you're worrying about compared to the money first.
Right.
So that's what I was always focused on. But then I got to the money side. Once I started making money, I was like, what's the most profitable thing I can create? All this different stuff. And I started losing my track. I was like, okay, I'm going off track. And this past year has been way more about the people because I started to see my impact, like how positive it was with how I was helping people from going to all these events, the meet and greets, different sneaker cons and stuff. Every time I go to sneaker con, I'm taking hundreds of pictures every single day.
That's so tight.
When I go to these events, the
Isn't that
whole
cool?
day. It's
That,
so
like,
dope.
As an entrepreneur, you're a celebrity in an industry, more or less.
Yeah.
Like it blows me away. Like I go to a business conference and it's like people want to take selfies and even like the reputation, the first thing that comes to mind usually is a thank you. Like your business served them in some way, shape, or form. It's just like the coolest thing that somebody can build.
Right.
Yeah. The opportunity to do
when you
it.
can see that bigger picture at the end and not just $1,
Yep.
like it makes it easier to figure it out and to scale and grow faster. I think that's the biggest thing is just really trying to identify, like, what's your business plan? What do you really want to do? Who do you want to help? How can you help them? What can you do now? And what do you want to do later? Like, you got the studio, you're growing.
Yeah.
Who's to say that you're not going to be doing full-time, like, classes every quarter or something, and you grow to a bigger space, building a bigger brand, building a bigger impact, and now you got all these people underneath you. Because I want to do the same thing with the sneaker game.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to have a space in Portland where I can bring in all the designers and the VPs and all these people from Nike, Jordan Brand, Adidas, Reebok, you name it. Or Reebok's not there, but Under Armour, Doc Martin, you name it. Like all these headquarters are here. I want to be able to create that same space and build that new, nucleus of the people and all this stuff. So that's the bigger goal for me.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but that's where I want to be. And when I see that, I'm like, oh, I just need to impact more people, keep helping, and just start spreading the message.
It's fire. What Travis Scotts are these?
These are the Black Phantom Travis Scotts. I got these for free.
You got them for free? Yeah. How much are they worth?
I don't know, probably like $600-700.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you've taken your profits that you've made online, selling sneakers, all the various things, and you've invested it into real estate. And that has been how you've taken your hobby, passion, and honestly started creating wealth with it.
Yeah. So
what was that first like? Yeah. So you bought your first investment property. What was that like?
I got out of college, and in a 30-day period, I graduated college, went to the regional combine, and bought 2 houses all in a 30-day window.
Snap.
So I was stressing about a lot of stuff, but I was like, if this don't work, that's gonna work. If that don't work, this gonna work. This don't work, that gonna work. Like I always was building up like a backup plan. Same thing, like I was like, oh, shoe thing will work if I don't make it to the NFL, whatever, right? Like it was always something. So I bought the 2 houses. That was in 2017. One was a flip. The other one was just to live in. And then that was like, I just got into it. Like I was like, let me try both things. I learned about flipping. Me and my dad did it all together.
Well, your first flip, what was that like?
It was a process. And it was funny because I was building a brand and not even realizing it. I recorded remember Snapchat was popping in 2017.
Yeah.
I recorded every single day. Just so many snaps. Like everybody was just tuning in.
That's wild.
Watching everything we did. Like from the guys working on the roof to us taking the trash out to going to the dump to getting food to going to Home Depot to get the materials to coming back, seeing the inspector there. You name it. Just everything. I was just like recording all of it. People watched the whole journey. And every time I would see people, they're like, yo, I'm loving it. Like you and your dad working together, all this stuff.
That's cool.
And it was like we were building this thing without even realizing it. And now I'm like, oh, if we do it again, I know we can turn it into something different. That's why I want to flip like apartment complex or something and just do the whole video process and show people the ins and outs. Cause I know way more now with like content side.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were doing that. And I was like, oh, this will be my backup if anything goes wrong. Like I got a couple houses, we'll figure it out. And then a couple years went by, 2019 rolls around. I'm like, started picking up the camera again. I wanted to start messing with YouTube and just having fun. And then that's when I was like, I want to get serious with it. Like I want to like really be popping. Like I want that 100K plaque. That was my thing originally.
Yeah.
Like I just want the 100K plaque. That was it. And then I went to Vid Summit. I met you. I met a lot of great people there. Y'all helped me. We didn't really know each other that well. I would always hit you up and ask you for questions. I would ask questions. I'm sure most of the questions, I don't know. I feel like, was I asking good questions that weren't already on the channel? Because I feel like sometimes, you know how people ask you a question?
You would ask the question after watching the video, which is good.
Yeah, so there would be some times where like I would watch the video and I'm still like not get it or something, and I would ask you a question. And I'm not like trying to respect your time at the same time, so I'm trying to be efficient with my question asking. Because I know a lot of people just, like, it's good to ask questions, but I feel like also at the same time, it's like, bro, you got to do a little bit of research before you just go start asking questions. Everybody like,
dude, low-key, I had a text back and forth with a guy, and I haven't been responding because it's like all his questions are like, dude, I have videos on this. Like, I understand, like, we're boys and we're friends, but like, I'm not your concierge, like, respectively. And how awesome is it that I actually have stuff out there for you to get the answer?
Right.
And then when you're at the moment of decision, like, for sure, I'll help you. Anyway, it was kind of like,
it's tough.
But
and
no,
like,
you did that well, for sure.
So I think that too is like when you're in the process of starting and like trying to grow, you got to really understand, like, you got to respect everybody else's time. It's not all revolved around you. Like, really, nobody cares about you.
Facts.
Like, they don't.
Right.
And like when you're popping, they still don't care about you.
They don't care about you. They care about what you can do for them.
Right. Like, people are like, oh, you got all these followers and stuff. But again, I can walk down the street. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares. Like, just because you got popping on the internet, like, that don't mean nothing. Like, yeah, that's cool. But like, don't get too big headed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that happens to a lot of creators too. But be efficient with the questions, asking them, I would say, is a big thing too. Just because, like, go watch the video.
Yeah.
Like, we that's what we're trying to do to help. And I'm like, that was a big thing. But yeah, you helped me a lot. And you say like my videos were good and everything, but I'm like, that was because I was learning from y'all. I always tell everybody, like, when I went to like Think Media, or I would literally ask you or whatever, like, I'm watching these videos. We would be remodeling houses before I started, or right when I started my, like, getting serious about the channel. As I was remodeling houses, everybody knew. As soon as DJ came in, I'm turning the music off, and we're learning how to write a better script, make a better video, switch the lighting. That's what's playing on the loudspeaker throughout the whole house while we're working on whatever.
Wild.
Ask my dad. As soon as DJ walk in, we're not here to listen to music. It's not getting us no value.
Yeah.
Why am I going to be here working on this thing for 3 hours when I could be learning at the same time? Because I'm just doing like some tedious work that I already know how to do. So it's not like I need to learn how to put tiles in.
Yeah.
Like, let me put on something that's going to teach me at the same time.
That's really good.
So that was a big thing too, was like overlapping stuff, not being like, oh, I'm busy with this, so I can't do that. Like, finding ways to integrate learning other things at the same time to help expedite your process.
So like, well, how much did you make on that first flip?
We kept it.
So you kept it, and then so now you're like super up.
We got like I think like 240 in equity or something like that on it right now.
That's cool.
So it's cool.
And like, how many properties are you at now?
3, and I'm trying to get my 4th. I'm trying to figure out what the next plan is. I have a couple of houses that I'm investing in right now, but I don't really count those because they're not like, I'm not keeping them. They're just like some actual flips.
Okay.
So to me, I just say 3 still.
What do you hope to make on every flip, or like at minimum, to even go into it?
My goal is to be able to keep them. I want to flip them and keep them, and have just increase the equity, refinance it, and then rent it out. And that's my thing, because I'm like, my grandparents' side, there was a lot of things that were passed down, and I learned that. But on my dad's side, like, it's like the beginning of this new cycle of like
I feel
passing things down. So for me and my dad, when we work on stuff, it's like we just want to try to keep everything we possibly can, because like it's like a pride and joy type thing. We're getting to the point now where it's like maybe we should sell some stuff to be able to get something else, but the way the interest rates are, it's like
crazy.
How you gonna sell this old rate and get this new rate? Like, it kind of don't add up. So that's the other part right now, just in current market.
So you're putting these on Airbnbs, or are you doing long-term?
I've been doing Airbnb since 2017 too.
So
as soon as I bought my house, it was on Airbnb.
Because like I'm a lame when it comes to this, because I should be tapped into the Airbnb game and stuff. Like, how much are you making about a month?
So one of the houses,
and have you like automated the process and stuff, or
we had it pretty automated, and then our cleaner, she started messing up. So me and my wife actually took it over these past like since the summer to now, because it's like people stay for a week, and it's like, okay, how many times do I need to go a month? Like, it's not too bad.
Sure.
Or we'll pay somebody else. But that house, usually the we actually were just going over this the other night. All the payments and everything are like $3,200, and then the Airbnb we usually get anywhere from like $5,500 to $6,500 a month, depending on like the occupancy. So there's like good cash flow in that. But you got to put in a little bit of work.
Sure.
Well, we do
It's
at
not
least.
completely. It's not passive.
Yeah. But I think with a lot of real estate, like people are like, oh, they want passive income, and it's like, nah, bro, you gotta still pay attention to your stuff. Like you can't just let it rot away and somebody just be like, oh, I got it under control.
Yeah. Have you heard of like what is it called? It's called corporate. Well, it's arbitrage. There's Airbnb arbitrage, but there's also like renting out your Airbnb properties to corporations. Have you heard of that?
To like a house?
Yeah. Well, like a business will actually rent it out for a month. And like if you only get so many of those a year, they usually will rent it out every year around this time.
Right.
Something I'm kind of like learning about because being in Vegas, there's every convention or conference comes to Vegas.
Right.
But even like training. So like it is a world like where you don't have to worry about like, you know, consumer Airbnb people. It's just you're working with B2B essentially. I don't know, it's just the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. And then everybody like, you know, the one that everybody always says, you could do the nursing thing, you could do this. Like everybody always says it, but it's like, who's actually doing it? Like show me the, you know,
Facts.
Like there are some people that are doing it, but that happens in all things too, right? People's like, oh, these are all the options. But it's like, okay, now show me about it, somebody who's actually doing it.
How much cash do you feel like you would a beginner would need to get started doing like an Airbnb? Or I would say, I guess you say you buy a house, you flip the interior, you increase the value all by itself, but then you use it to Airbnb. So like, seems
if
like
you
it's pretty
do
cash flow
if you do the arbitrage way, which is like basically you're renting the space out for whatever it is, and then you got to pay for like furnishing it too, unless you get a place that's already furnished. Depending on the area, first and last, next thing you know, you're like $10,000-$15,000 for that, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then that'll get you rolling, and you'll probably profit in like within your third month or something, getting your money back. And then from there, you're pretty much cash flowing if you get it in the right spot and all the different things. But then it's like you could look at the same thing. Like, I don't know. It all is relative to area, right? Where everybody lives at. But you could put potentially, you know, $15,000, $20,000 down on a house and do like a conventional loan and do something like that and get into it and live in it and then rent part of it out just to cover your mortgage. And or like say your mortgage is $2,000 and you're like, oh, I'm renting out one of the rooms and I'm making an extra $1,500 a month. Now my life expenses is $500 on my house. Like that's still a good play.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're willing to do that, and they, you know, they got the Burr method, all the different things that everybody like to do. So I think it's all, again, based off of your situation and what's best for you. So like we were talking about earlier, there's so many different options when it comes to like types of ways to sell shoes.
Yep.
There's so many different ways to start in the Airbnb. You got to listen and hear all the different options and then figure out which one aligns best with you and what your situation is in life, whether you can find a partner to give you the cash and say, hey, I'll make you X amount over time or whatever. But then if you're a rookie, it's like, you don't want to go mess it up, right? So you got to know how well do you know the game before you get into it. So I think there's a lot of different elements to each person's success when it comes to that part too.
So like, yeah, because I would imagine like the way you're doing it is you would just need a lot of, especially to renovate it and stuff. But how has that helped your taxes? Or do you like, are you dialed in with your tax? Or is that
my guy over here is gonna be on my head because he always be like, pay the taxes, just do it that way. And I'll be like writing everything off. That was always my thing for a long time. So now I'm actually switching a lot of stuff up. I'm not gonna be writing off as much. I pay more cash for things because of that. Yeah. Because when you just pay the taxes, then you get more opportunity for better loans and all the different things. Right. But then to me, in my head, I'm always like, the money has to go somewhere. Right. Whether it goes to you paying the taxes or you paying more to get the next loan on the down payment or paying down your debt or whatever. Like at the end of the day, you got to get some cash. It's got to go somewhere. That's all I always think. So again, which method works best for you? Yeah. But I just learned I'm working to switch it up a little bit. The game to like, you get an investment property, it stings because of like the down payment, but it's an investment property. Right. So it's good for that year. And then you can take that like cost seg depreciation in the first year you have it or whatever. I don't know. I'm still learning the game too. Yeah. But this is how I'm learning the wealthy get wealthier, you know, and not necessarily quote unquote avoid taxes, but minimize just literally sending the IRS all this money. Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, and then that's what I've been learning too about like selling properties now, because you can sell and after you stay there, I think it's for 1 year. I don't know, it might be 2. But you could sell a house and still make $250,000, not have to pay the taxes.
Yep, and roll it
and be good. So I'm like,
capital gains.
Okay. And then now what you married to, like that's $500,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, we can make some plays. So it's interesting learning that part too.
Yeah. Dude, fire. Dude, you are brilliant. And I think it's just really cool how you've gone about just the inception of taking something you enjoyed doing and like making that, you know, your livelihood that you get to, like you enjoy life. It's fulfilled. You're maybe not, you know, multi-millionaire.
Oh, it's coming though.
It's coming.
I feel it.
And what like how much people would you say are you paying contract wise or
like on my team?
Yeah.
Man, I'll pay probably like $1,500 a month.
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to think.
Keep it lean.
Less. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be less than that.
That's wild.
Yeah, I got an editor and assistant who runs my back end. So I have a full, like a course, a program.
Yeah, plug it away. We'll post links to in the description.
Yeah, Hobby to Hustle program.
Hobby to Hustle.
And we call it the 6-Figure Sneakerhead. We want people to come in and be able to learn the whole game. So it's like an 8-week program. That's what I started a while ago. And I did the launch on there. And it did well. And then we turned it into a monthly thing because we really wanted to build a community. So I give away free shoes every single month. We have live stream meetups every month. There's challenges that we do to keep each other accountable. We got a fantasy football thing going on within our community.
That's cool. How much people do you have in the community?
We got about 100 people in there.
Tight.
It's hard because like people want to make a bunch of money off of that, like the passive money through having a community. But I'm like, I don't want to lose the community by having too many people in there. And it's hard to like me to connect with everybody. Yep. So it's almost like a...
No, yeah, you're in a situation. I would say if that is self-defined desire for you, that you want to maintain quality of connection, then you have to increase the prices and cap it.
Yeah.
And then start a wait list, you know, or something like that.
That's kind of where things have been at. Some people are like, because, you know, you see a lot of people are like, oh, I got 6,000 people in my community. Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, great. You're making a lot of money each month. But I'm like, there's no way you're connecting with 6,000 people like in that type of way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you built the digital stuff and everything. But in my mind, I'm like, I still want to be able to like truly help these people because it's dope. Like in the community, I've helped people like find loans, figure out ways to remodel their property for a better way, like stuff outside of sneakers. Because I'm like, yes, technically it's around sneakers, but I'm teaching you to hustle the game. And then in our meetings, ask me about whatever. Like I'll put you in contact with whoever I know.
That's really cool.
And because of that, there's also the same thing. Like people want like their dream shoe. I'm like, well, I know so-and-so with the store. So like, let's work out a trade. I'll hook you up. Like I'll be the middleman. I won't charge you. And make a YouTube video for me out of it or something like that.
Yeah.
And now I'm like helping people get their dream shoes. I'm helping people with all these things. So for me, it's dope. Like watching people like flip houses and get advice and checking in with the community and everything.
Dope.
And people are inside, they're like, oh, this is way more than sneakers.
That's fire. I love it. So you tap into what he's got going on, dude. I appreciate you coming to Vegas and connecting. But yeah, you could follow him. We'll put links down to everything. I appreciate you being on.
For sure. Appreciate it, bro.